again, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of a short reading, well, actually, it is a short reading. It's not. I'm going to take lesson 74 in A Course in Miracles and just speak a moment about that. And that lesson is, I will there be light. I will there be light. And Jesus explains that the reason for this lesson is so that we can practice that whenever we are feeling down, sad, depressed, angry, fearful, also when we are wanting to gossip or judge or criticize, that these are unloving thoughts, and that whenever they enter our mind, whether it's within our mind or we're experiencing it out here around us in this world, we can simply call on the light. And to say, I will there be light, means I want the light. I'm willing that instead of the darkness, instead of the negativity in my life. I don't want it in my mind. I don't want to acknowledge it outside of myself. I want to say, I want the light instead of this. I want the light instead of this sadness. I want the light instead of this anxiety. I want the light instead of this worry. I want the light instead of this judgment or this criticism. I want the light instead of this. So that's the lesson. And it's so fitting even for today, well, actually every day. I will there be light. It means that your will is in alignment with God's every time we say that. I will there be light. And call it God, call it Supreme Being, call it ultimate intelligence. It is known by so many names, by so many, in so many languages, by so many customs, and throughout the world. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it is light-filled. It is light-filled, it is love-filled, and that's what we want to call on, instead of whatever is before us that is less than loving. And I leave that with you with peace. And now I would like to talk to you about that journey the three wise men made and how it is symbolic in our own lives. Now, the three wise men, they were astrologers. They knew how to read the constellations, look at the alignment. They could tell things that were to come, things that have passed. But most of all, they had to trust their intuition. They had to trust that light within them. So they knew by the constellations and the stars and all the alignment that there was a king that was coming, which meant someone of authority, someone who knew the truth, someone who could lead the people in the way of love. And they were willing to follow that star up in the sky, symbolic of our own path. Are we willing to follow the light? Are we willing to allow the light to light up our path and to guide us to wherever we need to be, wherever we need to go? How we are to show up. Now, the three wise men, let me tell you, they had things on their agenda. You know, right now people are out buying gifts and they're in a hurry and they think that's what's important. Well, the three wise men, maybe they had to wash their camels that night. I mean, they could have chores to do, but they laid all that unnecessary that most people find to be necessary aside, to follow that intuition, to follow that wisdom within them, and to follow that star. We don't know how long it took them to arrive to Bethlehem. symbolic of us arriving to that peace within ourselves. And that story says that they knelt down. They knelt down. We don't need to kneel down. We need to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge the birth of that Christ consciousness. Now, that happened 2,000 years ago, and we've been celebrating it every year. And most of us do not realize that Jesus does not want us to adore him every Christmas morning. He wants us to recognize that that same Christ consciousness in him is within us. So let's pause for a moment and just close our eyes and imagine that Christ child in a manger, in swaddling clothes, light beaming from its presence, with Mary, his mother, on one side and Joseph on the other. Mary devoted to caring for her son. Joseph devoted to supporting them and the journey ahead. Just be there for a moment. And that light is extending out from that beautiful child, and it's touching everything in you. And that light is calling for us to look within our heart and to see that that same God light, that same divine spark is within us. That Christ babe came to us, devoted to point the way, to show us how we can become more. Now, if you will allow, and some of you will not be comfortable, but try to do it. Place yourself in that manger right now. You, the babe in the manger, in swaddling clothes. How comfortable, how safe you must feel if you allowed yourself to have this experience. In all your innocence, the light shining brightly from you. Devotion of a mother on one side and the support of a father on the other. Just be with that. Some of us in life did not experience that with our parents and the world that surrounded us. But in this moment, you can have that experience. Allow it. Now gently open your eyes and come back. Let's play the part of each one that's been there in that holy moment. Now imagine you're one of the three wise men. And go into your heart right now and ask yourself, if you were one of the three wise men, what brought you to this point? What brought you to this light? Can we acknowledge all our past experiences that were holy and wonderful because they formed the character of who we are right now as a spiritual being. Everything that has happened up until now and every moment in the future will be for our good, so that we can learn and grow and forgive and love and be more of who we truly are. As you kneel there as one of the three wise men, can you feel the energy in your crown expanding? Can you feel your heart expanding with that knowledge and that wisdom that you are here on a sacred journey? You were birthed as the Christ child was birthed into a holy time. We're here on the earth. We're here to make a difference, as that great master did, lying in that manger. We are here to be the difference. We are here to acknowledge the light within and the light in every living thing. You are kneeling now to that knowledge within. Now let's stand up and get off our knees. And let's have a grateful heart for this beautiful story we've had for 2,000 years that has been symbolic of our very own life. You know, we're approaching Christmas. That's less than a week from now. And, you know, Jesus, our master teacher, one of the great master, he is one of the great master teachers. In fact, esoterically, he is known as the savior of this world. He came to save, to teach us that we have to save ourselves. That's what he came here to teach us. That by acknowledging that light, that Christ within us, that we can save ourselves from the grand illusion and the heartache and everything that we think is real out there. But what is real is that wise person that just knelt on their knees, acknowledging the wonder of who they are. You know, he didn't ask to be glorified. He came to glorify us. He didn't ask to be glorified, but he came to glorify us. So on Christmas morning, yes, as we celebrate anyone's birthday, we celebrate the birth of this great master. But he wants us also to celebrate that every day, not just on Christmas Day, that we can celebrate another increment of that birthing of the Christ within us. It doesn't happen all at once. I think Jesus lived, something like 34 years? Don't hold me to that. But in that time, he had quite a journey from birth to finish. When he ascended, he had quite a journey. And believe me, he was tempted, just like we are tempted every day, to allow our sadness or our worries or our whatever take us, sidetrack us from the light within us. He was tempted, and you better believe he said, "Let there be light. I will there to be light." He chose the light over any darkness that surrounded him. And right now, That is for us. It is for us to embrace Christmas as an opportunity to celebrate that birth, not just of this great master, but the birthing that we can accept within ourselves any given time. And like I said, it doesn't happen all at once. But he pointed the way, and he's guiding us right now. That's that beautiful shining star. That's the light that's lighting our path and showing us our way back to Bethlehem, back home, to where it all began. Our birthing into this universe, this incarnation on this planet, is like flea on a cow's butt compared to all our wondrous experiences for eons. And, it's time. We've done this before and we can do it again. We can acknowledge that Christ consciousness within us. We can allow it to be born anew, birthed anew every day. I love each and every one of you. And we need to learn to love ourselves. We need to learn to accept that light within us, because we are the light of the world. And I know that when we meditated today, meditated today, that you had to have a moment within that meditation that you experienced that glorious oneness, that light that we all share, that light of the Christ, that babe lying in that manger in swaddling clothes with radiant light extending from its pure consciousness, touching everything around it. I know you experienced that even just for a moment, that you were one with that. You are that. We are that. And together, let's light up this world Christmas Day, not just with gifts, but with saying, I will there be light. Every time we're tempted to think one unloving thought or to see something unloving that we judge as unloving outside of ourselves. Let's celebrate that on Christmas Day. That guiding star that lights our path, lights our way back to the love within. I thank you all, and I truly wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I love you. Thank you.